Yellow streetlight filters through the summer foliage outside David's bedroom window, dappling the bed. But Christopher's oblivious. His eyes are closed. To open them would be like making a confession, one he's not prepared to make. He doesn't look at David's face. He doesn't look him in the eye like you're supposed to when you have a conversation. What if David's eyes are open? Well, no, because why would anybody stare at someone else unless it was on purpose? Or wait, if I just turn my head a little bit, then I can flick. That's what Christopher calls it when he looks at guys out of the corner of his eye. Yeah, if I just turn my head a little, not enough to give myself away. Christopher could even be asleep and move his head like that. People move a lot when they're asleep. You saw a TV show about a person sleeping, and the guy kept shifting his position all night long. Even if he notices a figure on a sleep. The mere thought of his transgression, allowing himself to look at David's face, unleashes a flood of sexual excitement. More crudely put, he gets a hard-on. But when we speak here of transgression, it's not the turning of his head or the opening of his eyes that constitutes the crime. People look at each other all the time. The moral lapse is the joy he feels when he imagines doing it. He clenches his jaw to brace himself against miscalculation. What if I turn my head too fast? What if I'm too obvious? What's worse, he doesn't really want to look. He also wants to touch. Touching David naked in the showers after gym class, no one else around. Christopher looks into David's eyes, clenches his jaw tighter. He rests one frightened finger in the center of David's chest, where his breastbone meets his collarbone. His finger traces slowly down along the line that runs the length of David's torso, down to just above his navel. Can't imagine going further. Delicately, softly, so it's clear, he's merely offering, not making a demand. His finger becomes David's finger. He's watching David touch himself. What would it feel like to touch yourself if you lived inside an athletic body? Does he keep his eyes open and look down at his body while he does it? Does he watch how it responds? Does he marvel at how his muscles move? Oh, shit, what if David tells? The scene goes dark. Christopher isn't sure what happens if you violate the boy love prohibition. The rule is absolute, but the nature of the punishment is fuzzy. He sees gray emptiness, exile, banishment, like Hester in the Scarlet Letter. Although Christopher nominally is Jewish, his parents are agnostic. The family doesn't go to shul. He didn't study the Torah. He was not bar mitzvah. He's unaware of the infinite mercy of God. All he has to go on are vague tales of damnation relayed by the Catholic kids who live next door. Maybe he'll be taken to an underground facility where there's a giant gray magnetic flux machine with a dozen knobs and dials, and he'll be strapped down on a metal slab, his wrists and ankles tightly bound, his temples shaved, electrodes fastened to his head, and they would flick a switch and turn the dial, sending megajolts of electricity coursing through him, and he would writhe and scream as smiling doctors in white lab coats wipe his mind clean and reprogram him as they turn him into someone else, someone better, someone who has no desire to look at David in the showers or to touch him, someone who cannot remember junior high school anymore, someone who no longer cares about the first time he fell in love.